for one thing. We are here to fuck shit! Let me see those fists in the air! Come on!
Thank you.
That was our goal.
Yep. We're gonna set the place on fire. That's why we showed up. We're gonna.
You know, it is hell, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's a challenge playing first, but it's also a fun challenge that we like because, you know, they sit there and they're expecting a little bit out of you, and then you get up there and you give it to them, and everyone just, from the first people in the front to the side to the back, one by one, they all start joining in and bouncing and having fun, you know, so, you know, it's fun to win them over.
We had no idea how huge the crowd was going to be today.
No.
It was insane.
It was huge.
I think this is probably the biggest show that we've ever had, the most people we've ever played in front of, so thank you guys so much for having us.
Yeah.
As we were setting up the gear, as the show was coming on, I'm like, people will actually come, and then we go backstage, and when we came out, we're like, wow, this is amazing.
It was just a sea of people. I couldn't see the end.
Yeah.
It's
That
to
was
us
really cool.
You know, to us, this is a huge dream come true, and every day we get to do this, you know, it's exciting. And so when we walk out and we see all those people there, it gets us pumped.
Yeah, we're ready to party,
pumped.
and we're 12:30, in the afternoon, we're ready to party.
And we haven't had any sleep in about 3 days
Yeah.
because we're in the States, we tour in a bus or, with bunks so we can sleep at night. We've been in a van sitting upright to go to all these
We've been
festivals.
like this,
So we've
bouncing
literally
along.
had zero sleep. We try to get, an hour or two a night. So
It's all worth it, though,
We
when you
need
walk
that
on the
crowd
stage.
feedback to pump us up, and they did today for sure.
Yeah.
Butcher Your Babies is a metal band that we're different. We set ourselves apart by having 2 female vocalists, and besides that, we are just a metal band. We don't like to categorize ourselves
genres.
as any kind of certain type of metal. We are just
A lot of people try and be like, oh, they're neo thrash or, groove or. There's so many different kinds that people try and classify us as, but it's impossible because we're very diverse, and we all came from different backgrounds in metal. I'm a new metal kid. I grew up loving Slipknot, Korn, Limp Bizkit. I love the new metal. Henry here is.
I've listened to every kind of metal you've been.
But he's more of the experimental metal, the Meshuggah. He brings that influence. Our bass player Jason, he loves death metal, so he brings the death metal influence. And our drummer Chris is a hardcore metal kid. And so
I'm a thrash metal kid, thrash metal punk rock kid. So we stir that all in one big pot and we make Butcher Babies, and it's I think it's a unique thing, and that's what we've gotten so far in the last 5 years, because we're making a sound that is completely different than anyone else. And to top it off, like I said, 2 female vocalists, which is not hasn't been done in metal.
No. And another thing too, I think a lot of people are missing the energy. The energy from old thrash bands, the energy on stage, that it's captivating. And I think over the past 10, 15 years, besides a few bands here and there, I think that we've been all missing it. So we're trying to hopefully bring that back.
Heidi, I've known Henry for about 10 years. We used to work together a long time ago at Playboy. And Heidi and I met 8 years ago, 8 or 9, almost 9 years ago now. I tried out for a cover band doing punk rock cover songs. She was already in the band. And we met, and we were like there was an instant connection. We didn't know if we were going to be best friends or complete enemies, but we ended up being best friends. And we wanted
And I used to come watch their band.
Yeah, he used to come
I would hide
watch
in the corner and be like, all right, just show me this guy.
So we decided to stop playing cover songs. We wanted to play our own music, and we're both metal kids, new metal and old thrash metal, but we're both metal kids. So we wanted to do a more metal project.
One of the biggest things we bonded on.
Yeah.
That separated us from the rest of that cover band is we were metal kids. We would sit and just talk about metal and different kinds. We wouldn't just talk about it. We would argue about metal, you know, like I'm like, oh, new metal this, and she's like, ah, thrash metal that, and but we both love the exact same bands, but we would just
So after we beat
sit
it up
and
a few times, I was teasing. There was never any beating up.
no, but it's cool. I mean, we decided to quit that band and do something completely original, and we had a lot to say. We still have a lot to say, and we created this band, and we all are mutual friends with the rest of the band, and we've all been together for almost 6 years. So
that's very important to us too. It's been the same members for the whole existence of this band. We love each other. We're like brothers and sisters. We may disagree once in a while, but we love each other, and I think that's very important. You know, you don't hear that a lot from bands these days. We're kind of inseparable. So. August 21st, our new album, Take It Like a Man, finally comes out. We've been waiting for so long to get our second album out there, and it's finally here.
that album is, I would say, a continuation of Goliath, but also it just kicks Goliath's ass. Goliath is our first album, by the way. It kicks his ass because we were looking to do something more thrashy and heavier. We started out as a thrashy band, just very in-your-face, raw beats, you know, not a lot of melodics. And when we put out Goliath, we introduced a lot of melodics into that. So this album, we wanted to kind of revert back to our thrashier sound. Plus, we'd been on the road touring for 4 years straight. We know what our crowd wants. They want the thrash, and they want the music that's going to make them move. So in creating this album, we had the fan in our mind. You know, the music fan, the one who comes to our shows and starts the pit. We had that person in mind in writing these songs, and it came out really good. I'm so excited for people to hear it. We played 2 new songs today, and it was cool to see everyone moving to it.
And another thing too with this album is a lot of stuff came out that was really unexpected and made it to the album, and we didn't really have a plan for it, but it ended up being a whole different side of our band that we're really proud of, and we can't wait for everyone to hear it, because there's the very heavy, extreme, thrashier side of our band, and then there's a very opposite, very dynamic, softer side of the band that's
There's
really
one
new.
song, we call it our Don't Speak. It's our, our very emotional, very melodic song. There's just one, and it's like slow and sexy.
One, you're my only weakness. The wrong that I keep repeating. I tell myself
When you finish your album, you go through a couple weeks of almost like regret, where you're like, it's not done, it's not ready, I hate this album, it's not the way that I wanted it, it's not right. And then there was one evening on tour that we played the whole album on our bus and kind of just took it in and jumped around like idiots listening to it and singing it back. And
We actually interpretive danced the entire album.
We were a little drunk. We totally did. Our crew sat there rolling their eyes for about 40, however long.
Do we have to sit through this for much longer?
But,
It was
but
so
then we
cool.
turned to each other. We made an amazing album that we're so proud of. But I think every artist, no matter what kind of art you do, has that moment where they're like, I can't let it go yet. It's my baby. It's not done yet. But there comes a time when you have to let it go and trust that you did make a great product. And we feel that we did that.
sorry to disappoint you, but you can even grasp what I've been through.
It is very, we love this word, organic. All of us, we sit in a room and we write. Even when we're on tour, we, on days off, we will stop somewhere, rent a rehearsal space, set up our stuff and write. And it's very important for us to have every member of the band a part of the writing process, because when you get on stage, you want to feel like it means something to you. And it's great. I mean, Carla and I, we handle most of the lyrics. However, these boys are really smart when it comes to lyrics. They have a lot to say, a lot of good input. And there's times when we'll say to the boys, we could go for halftime, full time, double that shit, chunk that. I don't that's singer term for guitar chunks.
I know what they're talking about when they have an idea.
But it's fun. It's definitely something we all do together, and we don't sign off on anything in any of the music until every single person is happy with it.
I don't
what's
think that we
interesting?
think of ourselves. That's the one thing about Heidi and I don't think that we think of ourselves as sexy or anything like that. We just do what we do. We are who we are, and if someone
I grew up just not the pretty girl at all.
Neither of us.
No, I had basically, my skin matched my hair. I had, lots of freckles, huge ears, a big nose, just like a boy body completely. I was an athlete, and I had just nothing my entire life. That's how I grew up.
And I was
completely
chubby, buck-toothed, frizzy-haired kid.
Was completely made fun of my entire life. I was never the pretty girl. That's not anything I ever was used to. So for people to say that now, I love makeup. I think it's an art form. You should see me without it. It's terrifying.
I don't
but
think
the
so.
thing is for people to say, oh, they're beautiful. That's a huge compliment. But that doesn't. The way that I look doesn't define me, and I don't think that's how metal was first brought into this. It's not about how you look, and we definitely don't use it as a weapon. To us, it's just fun to just get up there and be who we are. I mean, if you see us on stage, we're not out there like, hey, we're out banging our heads, we're jumping, you're doing the stuff the boys do. It's not about this. I like to curl my hair though. But
Yeah, like we grew up as misfits, and for us, when we found metal music, it was a place for misfits to go. If you weren't a popular kid, if you weren't the pretty girl, all the metalheads, they took you in anyways. They didn't care what you looked like. So it always makes me laugh when metalheads now say, oh, well, they can't play metal, they're too pretty. It's like, wait a second. When I was a kid, I found metal because it didn't matter. None of that stuff mattered. But at the same time, we're not afraid of sexuality. We're not afraid of who we are today. We're not afraid of how we look. We don't really care. If someone wants to judge us, screw them.